I don't know. It will not be Sneaky taking up that bot lane role.
Yeah, it was something like 377 straight starts for Sneaky. Some absurd number.
I mean, like a 35-minute average game time. That's
a lot of minutes.
Math.
And, you know, he is not here, right? Neither is Smoothie. Neither is Jensen. None of these players were on C9 last year, right? This is a pretty crazy change. And you talked about, you know, wanting to see something new from Apollo as far as that Thresh, rather. I would love to see the Pyke. We've not actually gotten to see it yet today. And I do think that we have some very strong playmaking supports who it would kind of suit their style. And you actually did the calculation.
About 220 hours of game time consecutive is how much Sneaky played with Cloud9, and that streak ends unless something really crazy happens, the game gets dissolved and Keith has to leave. That's unlikely, though. Either way, Tarek, Braum, Irelia off the table, Clutch Gaming's bans. Meanwhile, Yasuo, Lucian, and Talia, as we've seen, banned away by Cloud9. And Lulu will be the first pick for Clutch Gaming in the summer split.
And we saw what happened to Kobe earlier, right? If that happens to Keith, Sneaky might have to sub in, but barring that, I think he's going to be all right. So it is, first pick Lulu. Could be a number of different things. We have seen Lulu be used actually as the bot laner, as a farming Lulu bot. We have seen it in the mid lane. I've also seen a number of teams actually just doing this to try to pick it away as far as denying some of the super farming strategies. And like the bans here from Clutch, to me, are saying Cloud9 Academy probably does that sort of power farming, funneling strategy. When you're banning away the Braum, the Tarek, that's two of the big enablers. Lulu, I would say, is the third best enabler for that strategy. So it looks like they're really trying to prevent Cloud9 from running any sort of super jungle.
And they're hovering right now onto Zoe, which interestingly enough was the first champion Jensen played this split for the Academy squad, but it's going to be a Nocturne right now. And we have seen some of those, the hard farm Nocturnes like back with Gigabyte Marines a full year or so ago. We don't typically see Nocturne be that kind of champion in this day and age, but we do see him be a much more common jungler here in this one. So Sven on the Nocturne, a Shen in the top lane, and LirA going to be on Graves here.
Yeah, it should be very interesting. We have been seeing more and more kind of like lethal tempo Nocturne. It's one of those things, I would say, popularized in the LPL. MLXG, the kind of first guy that I'd really been seeing doing it quite a lot and being pretty successful with that. It's going to be Ornn here, so pretty strong kind of team fighting style composition so far from Clutch. There's a potential that we're going to see some wackiness where Lulu could theoretically be played by Apollo or something. You could see a Super Graves still, but not expecting it, definitely from what we have seen, and have not seen that yet at all in the LCS.
Yeah, not the case here. And of course, super jungle, super mid had been definitely the most rare of the sort of new stuff here. But Graves, or sorry, not Graves, but Brand has been locked in now for Cloud9 and mostly is seen as a bottom laner. Yeah. So I think we do expect to see Keith playing that champion.
Yeah, definitely the case. We actually saw Sneaky playing this in C9 Academy in their first game, which they did win on that Brand. So definitely something that we know their org is already running there also. And kind of a little cool interaction is actually, with Celerity on Nocturne. I was talking with Medios earlier today. He was telling me about how Celerity actually interacts with lethal tempo. And when you fear someone, you get 350 move speed or something absurd towards the feared target, which actually ends up giving you 20 flat AD from the Celerity, which then on top of lethal tempo, you're getting such a tremendous amount of damage out during that.
It's all at the same time, and you're even getting move speed off of your Q trail, you're getting bonus AD off your Q trail, so a lot of synergistic sort of assassination pattern in a sense. You do 1 million damage during the fear duration, so yeah, I do think Sen will be very scary. What's nice is if the team tries to bunch up to defend the target, well, that's great for a Brand ultimate or a Brand W. And of course, Shen can just join in. This is the old dive buddy comps, right? We've seen this so much back in 2013, 2012. Nocturne Shen being one of the very obvious versions of those, but just bruises that got onto the back line and assassinated targets, and you just did follow up from there. Yeah,
it can be very, very powerful. That being said, showing it this early, and Clutch has some of kind of the answers that you would want to this sort of a dive composition. You have a Lulu who can really kind of prevent, with the wild growth and the shields and the Whimsy, some of that damage that is coming in. You have an Ornn, certainly the potential to be like a very hard target to actually dive into, and we'll see what Clutch wants to go for their bottom lane, if they're going to go for a very safe bottom lane, if they're going to put Febiven on this Lulu, or where they're really going to move things around. The Nautilus, I'm actually expecting this to be support. So
is this Nautilus Mord?
I think it could be Shen support. It could also be Nautilus Mord. We're seeing a lot of Shen support these days, actually. So this could be Nautilus top. This could be actually like a farming Nautilus. Like, there's a lot of options here that it could be moved around, but I'm expecting it to be Keith playing Brand. I am expecting it to be Zeyzal on the Nautilus or the Shen, and then Licorice on the opposite. Nautilus I don't consider to be a very strong laner, honestly. So we might just be seeing Nautilus support for a very powerful all-in. One of the really nice synergies that I could see coming out of that is the Nautilus are set up for a guaranteed CC, which means you're going to hit your Pillar of Flame. You're going to be able to hit the Seer for the stun out of that and kind of very easily set up that sort of powerful combination. This is looking like Morgana, Vladimir just as the bottom laners. I think these are actually just their picks. But there is some potential still for it to be Lulu for Apollo and then Vladimir mid. But I am expecting it to be Lulu mid.
We'll see what comes through into this one. Yeah, this might be the lineup right there for Clutch Gaming. As you mentioned, the Zoe picked up. So this looks like the lineup right here for Cloud9. Zoe, the last pick mid laner, Nautilus going to that support role right here. This seems to be the situation. But we have 20 seconds to go until the teams have to make sure they are done swapping. This is the most likely look to it to go down for this one. So, okay, to recap, we have now double non-standard bot lane. Still no super jungle, but we don't expect much of that overall right now in this day and age. But double mage in the bot lane here with a Morgana Vladimir versus that Brand Nautilus.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. I do think that the straight-up team fight from Clutch is so incredibly powerful with the Ornn, the speed of onto the Vladimir, flying into the team fight, AoE damage coming out from a lot of those guys, as well as the damage amplification. A Brand can be a very, very powerful team fighter, but I would say Cloud9 is much more dependent upon the picks with Sleepy Bubble Trouble from the Zoe, with finding the right pick with the Shen Nocturne combination, and Nautilus using his hard engage to really pick someone off. So look for them to play around that to find those straight up picks, where Clutch, I think, just wants to brawl 5v5.
Yeah, it looks very scary in kind of a lot of these sides. We'll see what split pushing looks like down the line here. They've got that graze for physical damage output. Same for the Nocturne on that Cloud9 side. Clutch Gaming, the 4th place finishers from the last split right there. Pick Bard, sorry dude, not gonna happen right now. And Cloud9 had a very unfortunate run to their playoffs. A quick exit for them as well in 5th, 6th place alongside TSM. Clutch hoping to repeat some good success. Cloud9 hoping to make sort of up for lost time in the spring split.
Yeah, and honestly, for a lot of these guys, this is such an important game because for Keith, for Zeyzal, for GoldenGlue, they want to prove that they are LCS ready now. You know, most people are looking at this game and assuming, yeah, something happened, but Sneaky, Jensen, and Smoothie are going to be back. There is a world in which that does not happen if these three perform incredibly well in the LCS stage. If they do not, expect them to quickly be back in Academy and the stars to move back up.
It's very interesting because I think the players all have their own different stories. For Zeyzal, he tweeted out today, he's very excited for his first ever LCS game, and this is a player that a lot of people had their eyes on, that, you know, this is the next guy who's LCS ready. When's he going to get his big break? Interestingly enough, on Cloud9 itself, actually taking over for Smoothie, at least for today. But yeah, Keith and GoldenGlue have been on the stage before quite a bit, and honestly have had fairly mediocre to lackluster careers. I think GoldenGlue sort of famously with a lot of blunders.
Binding.
Yeah, it's gonna be a stun now onto poor Keith. He's trying to run away, but he's running out of health. Couple more autos will do him in first blood. That is not the start Cloud9 wanted. And Zeyzal is flashless. The binding up right now. They're gonna find it. 2 kills already before minions even spawn.
Welcome to the LCS Zeyzal.
Oh, that is a heartbreaker for Cloud9.
Oh, that is just a brutal start. You know, Keith has had some rough times in the LCS and kind of picking up where he left off a little bit. I mean, that is you can't really put that one on Keith though. I mean, Zeyzal flashed out of the way of that binding right onto Keith. They either both would have had to immediately flash or Zeyzal just has to accept it. I mean, this is definitely, you know, not well communicated. Just seems like a panicked flash, realizes it's going to hit him. And Keith does not flash at the same time, so there's no escaping. There's no point in Keith flashing now, and then it's just an easy chase down for 2 level 1 kills from Clutch.
I really do think there were some bad individual plays. Zeyzal, after flashing, turned back to land E in an auto attack to root. Like, okay, Keith, I'll save you, but the time he lost meant that he was a kill, and maybe should have cut his losses. But now LirA and Sven finding each other, and watch out, this is a very low health Nocturne. 300 health left on him. Auto's coming in now down to 100. He's got to be careful. The flash chase, he's gonna go down. Clutch Gaming already 3-0 in less than that minutes.
It is getting ugly. 2 minutes and 30 seconds in. Sven trying to greed out for this scuttle. He is so low on this early clear. You know, he's sitting there on low mana, 30 to 40% health, trying to do that scuttle, and great if you get it, but LirA shows up for another easy kill for Clutch, and they are off to such an incredible start. And when we talked about win conditions, when we talked about the fact that this is a composition that wants to get going, that wants to be finding these picks, if you're putting yourself this far behind, it's so hard.
Oh, and they're trying to invade for more of his jungle. Look at this. You see the team kind of running around. They know Sven's going to rush for blue, so LirA's like, guys, I'm pretty sure I can fight this guy. There's a control ward. Yeah, there's some vision coming out. Hakuho's here and says, no, Sven, this is our jungle.
I mean, it's a red buff Graves versus a level 2 Svenskeren. Like, what are you supposed to do? You know, yeah, he has his spear, but he's not going to be able to fight at all. So it's both scuttles going LirA. He already lost his red buff when he died to LirA. Now the blue buff gets taken away. It's a double buff Graves sitting up against this Svenskeren, who's going to be so weak, and that means Nocturne is going to be very behind the curve as far as actually hitting his level 6, getting those early ganks, and Fear's on cooldown. No chance to ever be able to fight this, and really, it's just kind of greedy to be going for that scuttle without the vision control, and I believe it was actually a ward from Febiven that spotted Svenskeren going into that river and finds that early kill. It's a play every jungler has made. It's a play every jungler has regretted. You want those scuttles so badly in this meta, but you have to respect the power of your opponent.
Kill, of course, worth more here as Licorice trades blows with Solo in the top lane and farm close to equal. We'll see now which players can recoup. I believe with how early the kills went in, Cloud9 did not lose any CS. Of course, yes, they did lose Dark. They gave up our Dark Shield stacks to Apollo. That's, of course, going to feel good for Clutch Gaming. But the laning phase itself not going to be changed by too much. And so we'll see this comeback can happen. This has actually been, I would say, a day that has shown games be able to be quite close. And so, and comebacks happen as well, as we saw from TSM. So, this game not out of reach, but disheartening and now requiring of a little bit of mental fortitude to make sure you can still play this game right for Cloud9.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, by no means is this gold lead, you know, unwinnable, right? They are not even 2,000 gold behind, but they need to stabilize.
Oh, he might just be dead! Into the mid lane! GoldenGlue answers back!
Getting a solo kill on Febiven, one of Spring's best performers, and you can see Febiven was not happy about that one. The frustration clearly visible on his face. GoldenGlue with a great start here for Cloud9, getting one back, and you talked about the mental fortitude required.
Yeah.
Seeing a solo kill on your opponent's star player is going to make you feel pretty good.
Yeah. Courtesy of your own star player, GoldenGlue stepping up into very big shoes, and that sleep landed very well.
Yeah, beautiful sleep around the corner. Actually, did that
It looked weird. I think it's hit the hitbox. It had to have. It looked strange, but I think it was looked bad on the spectator end, but had to have hit. There's no way he did that much damage without it.
Yeah, I was really confused. I mean, the Chilling Smite went down, it looked like at the same time, but either way, must have connected, I'm assuming. The top lane going to be looking pretty even. One of the biggest problems, though, you know, is not even the gold. It's not really the kills. It's the fact that Svenskeren gets pushed this far behind, because Nocturne really can struggle to actually find success if you are pretty far behind. The champion falls off pretty heavily anyway.
Yeah.
Usually your first ultimate is such an indicator of what your success is going to be like in that game. And, you know, we're at 6 minutes, he's level 4, right? It becomes very, very difficult to actually get to that stage where you are looking really strong. He's not even going to get 5 out of this camp, so he is really far behind, and I feel like it puts such a tremendous amount of pressure on him to make sure that first ultimate works.
And we'll see when he gets it. 6 minutes is a very fast time to get 6 minutes, or until they get level 6, but only level 4 right now. 1 camp away from 5, but a full jungle clear to go maybe, with some nice aggressive trinket wards spotting out what could be his future jungle paths. Sven waiting for his red to respawn. His Krugs are up right now, and that'll be his first camp.
You also have to worry if you're Cloud9, because the early pressure has gone the way of Clutch, and it's an early Infernal. I don't want to be giving over any Infernals to your opponents. This is level 6 for LirA. Definitely the potential on Graves to solo that up. You know, you can just kind of hop over the wall and look for that. Perhaps after he gets his red buff, could be an option, but we'll see what the play is going to be for him.
And the first teleport now comes in for Licorice now, getting in with the T-Map plus a Ruby Crystal. Has the ultimate available now to join in for any crazy fights. Keith gets level 5, the same for Zeyzal down here in the bottom lane. Of course, Morgana generally pretty well equipped to deal with Nautilus crowd control. It's quite telegraphed. It lectures not too hard. Nice taunt across for Licorice, and trades back and forth, and now LirA looking at the mid lane, looking to find something to do.
Yeah, that's been getting poked out pretty hard. Nice binding, though.
Oh, and they're going for a lot of damage here. Apollo on the back line gets some good damage. A good stun coming across, and oh yeah, with Hemo play, he's going to be healthy enough.
Yeah, will survive that. Was pretty close, actually, to getting taken down, but we'll stay alive. The pressure, though, mounting for Clutch, and with Keith out of health potions, with him pretty low, he knows he has to go back to base, but he is running teleport, so will be able to get back and collect that farm.
Yeah, not too bad here in this one, but it is still a farm lead for Apollo, so that duo lane really not missing a beat here. You could argue they're up against Academy bottom lane, but it's still one that Cloud9 chose to field today. And winning so far, and okay, to be fair, a matchup where they got a free first blood and specs for gold, and getting to catch that in, of course, helps them.
Yeah, things looking good for Clutch so far. Obviously, it was a horrible level 1 for C9, but that is kind of the circumstance that they put themselves in, with their level 1 positioning. So it's not as though you can say it's just bad luck or anything like that. You have to be very cognizant about where you're playing, and that's, I think, one of the really nice things about some of these teams that do aggressive level 1s is mixing it up, not allowing your opponents to know what you're going to do, kind of makes them always have to play with that respect, make them have to play further back.
Ooh, they want this one. Here comes the attempted sphere, but they've got to get right back away because suddenly Lulu and Graves are in the mix. Ignite is on. Golden getting away with this one, and Sven is barely going to live, but the anchor toss is going to land. A nice stopwatch, going to immune. No, the open didn't actually come through. He still got the cooldown left for himself. The Nautilus there didn't finish casting, but Febiven's still going to stay alive. LirA there for the defense, and the support showing up as well. Hakuho keeping the team alive. Yeah,
well done there from Clutch, and that's actually a lot more expended on the side of C9 because that is the flash, the ult from Svenskeren, as well as the ignite there from Zeyzal. The bottom lane roamed up while Apollo stayed bot to actually keep farming. So that first all-important ultimate out of the Nocturne not finding any success, and that is going to put him even more behind on the curve because now there's no real chance of fighting against the Graves. There's no real chance of having any pressure until Paranoia is back up, which is going to be quite some time.
Really long cooldown, still waiting for another minute and a half till that's back up right now. So we'll see what about 11 minutes into the game for round 2. Nice quick sanguine pool there, and Apollo's fine. Looks like he's communicating with Hakuho, like, I'll sanguine pool the anchors. You can save Black Shield for a little bit later. They don't waste any cooldowns that way. LirA still clearing quite nicely, level 7, but Sven has managed to match that level, so catching up pretty well is at least decent in levels, but still quite a bit down in gold.
Yeah, there's more on the map right now kind of for LirA to farm, so he will still get up in experience, certainly, but yeah, it's definitely concerning anytime you have a bad early start as Nocturne. You will have opportunities, especially, it's not as bad because you do have Shen with you, so they're having that pairing, having the dive buddy means there's more of a chance of actually eliminating someone in the back line. But the question is kind of like, who do you really dive? You can't really dive the Vladimir. You don't really want to dive the Morgana or anything. Morgana, maybe building in towards the Zonias. Yeah. So you can try to go for Febiven or LirA. Those are probably your best targets, but as long as they are together, there is Black Shield for protection, there is Wild Growth, there is Whimsy, there is Lulu shields, and it's not like there's any really easy target like an Ashe or a Jhin or something that is the clear target to eliminate.
Yep, the Shen Nocturne were grabbed right away in the draft, though. That was the very first 2 things that C9 picked, so this is kind of what happens. They showed their hand, they wanted to go for the hard dive early, and Clutch Gaming able to find themselves some pretty good defensive options. Sometimes it can be hard. You've got to pick something first, and if it's core to your strategy, that opens you up for counter picks. Still can be played around, of course. We'll see as the game continues, but you can see the bottom lane, that turret is just hemorrhaging health. It's down to about 1/3 HP, and I think one good gank from LirA they could knock down in one fell swoop.
Yeah, really the case, and maybe LirA doesn't even have to go for it, even just kind of protecting them from that attack. But Svenskeren has his ultimate again, so they would love to get a kill bot lane and try to turn that into a dragon. They're coming down.
Nice plays into the front line, and now with Sanguine pulled down, and the Black Shield gone as well. Where's the re-engage going to come across? Very low health, no Vlad. They get the pop. He was out of cooldown. The Morgana going to drop as well, and they find the answer. Cloud9 ties up the kill. Now a chase on a Febiven. Ignite is on, down to 500 HP. The flash forward. He's a chicken, but doesn't matter. Looking for the chase, the jump in, and he's almost going to get him. But Febiven stays alive. All said and done, Cloud9 2-0 in the bot lane.
Yeah, Cloud9 converting on that play big time. Apollo and Hakuho not showing the respect to the fact that Svenskeren could have his ultimate back up. They did not have the timer on that, and Cloud9 gets exactly what they needed. A couple of kills. They will get the Infernal, and just like that, they're right back in it.
Really nice. This game only 700 apart. The Rift Node could matter. That top lane's getting pushed, or at least was shoved in as Shen rejoins the fray. I want to see where that Herald can go, but it could answer, and it could get first turret and push the gold back up. Watch that fight again.
Yeah, here's this is one more time, and Clutch kind of getting baited, honestly, by the fact that the binding landed. They go forward, but Svenskeren's already here. The Shen ult is already on him, immediately coming through, and they're able to very easily burst down this Vladimir, who had no pool because he expended it in the earlier fight, and then GoldenGlue again, going for the chase down and the kill. Not going to be able to find it, and it's Clutch looking to knock down first turret. That still is an advantage they have going in their favor, because this turret is very, very low, and it should be going their way.
Yeah, with 4, this is a foregone conclusion. Unintended as the turret goes down. Gold to be shared between Apollo and LirA.
They also have that Rift Herald available. That is something that LirA was able to trade back on the top side of the map when his bottom lane was dying. So we'll have to kind of track and see how effective he's going to be with that one. Last time, CLG was not able to really find a good opportunity to use it, and Rainover ended up kind of just dropping it as the cooldown was expiring and getting nothing. So while it is more powerful in this patch, it's still not guaranteed. It's kind of like potential to get a lot of gold, but nothing is really written in stone.
I actually kind of like what happened with it, because the upside got a lot better and the downside got a lot bigger as well. Where like it's very easy to kill out of combat. The weak point damage has been doubled, but yeah, if you don't stop it, it will take 2 turrets by itself in some cases. I like that. I like the sort of sharper goods and bads, because you can really see who can make better plays out of it. Either way, we are in a game with a 1,600 gold lead. Clutch Gaming back ahead after that bot lane turret fell. And they're in very good spots. Spellbinder's Orb already done on the Vladimir at 13.5 minutes. He's ready to go.
And the lane swap coming in. You can see Apollo getting sent back up to the top lane. They are looking to pressure down this turret. Rift Herald is available and on that side of the map. Svenskeren, though, does have Paranoia once more. He could work his way up here. We'll see if it's going to be in time to actually defend this Rift Herald push. That turret is looking still quite healthy, but not sure they'll be there in time. I mean, C9's trying to make the roam, though.
Yeah, 2 versus 3 plus Herald, and they are not trying to clear it away. So that will be top turret going down 2-0, and turrets Clutch played that one quite well. And Apollo 350 gold richer for being in that location as well. And yeah, Clutch Gaming, gotta say, kind of picking up where they left off to a certain degree, doing quite well, I would say, in the postseason. Getting top 4 is really impressive, and now looking for the next big move as Hakuho roams with those mobility boots. Looking for the mid lane. Not quite going to be shut down by GoldenGlue. Collection will be before the Sleepy Trouble level lands. And sleeps and goes away, but no real damage dealt.
Yeah, I mean, Clutch really barring that one poor fight on the bottom side of the map, kind of not respecting the fact that Svenskeren could arrive with his ultimate, has played a very, very good game. Even with that, they are still certainly ahead. It was a costly mistake, though. A couple kills and the Infernal, and see what they can make of that. Keith, though, going to be working towards a Morello. I really do like this as a rush. Early spell pen is so powerful on the Brand. So he has his Sork Boots, he has that Oblivion Orb, so he already has all that flat pen, and then building up the healing debuff against a Fleet Forward Graves, and especially against this Vladimir, is going to make him so much easier to actually kind of burn down.
And of course, Merlinamicon against a self-killer like Vladimir, obviously a very big deal. See if you can ever kill him in those fights now. Wave clear coming through for GoldenGlue, doing pretty nicely in his lane matchup. He's up almost 30 CS. That's actually pretty solid. Solo kill helping as well. And say, so far his 2018 debut in the LCS is going well for GoldenGlue.
Yeah, almost had a second solo kill as well.
Right, yeah.
Certainly looking strong. Zoe considered to be one of the, if not the strongest, I think, mid laners right now. So certainly you could say he has kind of the matchup advantage, but he has been looking really, really good. And we have seen, you know, Febiven making some of the very best mid laners in the LCS look silly at times in spring. So certainly an impressive start, and we'll see if C9 can actually push in and try to clear out this mid lane.
Well, ult burned for it as well, and the smite, LirA doing everything he can to make sure that turret can stay alive, and does so. Stays at about 40% here.
And rightfully so. Apollo's pushing on the top side, so all they need to do is really kind of delay and buy time in the mid lane, and then someone from C9 will have to go up to the top side, clear that wave out, which will buy them priority again on that mid lane.
The minions go back and forth for now. Once again, a small lull in the mid game as we wait for Ocean Drake to spawn in 80 seconds. 3-3 in kills, up an Infernal, but down 2,500 gold. You expect to battle the Propico Clutch's way based on income, but positioning means so much in this game, and getting that individual pick can be the way into the battles.
Yeah, and it's so much about execution. I mean, there's a lot of squishy members on the side of C9 who have incredibly high damage potential, but also the potential to just instantly die.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Keith could like 1v9 a fight and just kill everyone with his Brand ult in a really nice combo, but he could also just die without getting to do anything to a Vladimir and a Graves ultimate layered over top of that. So he's going to have to be very careful. Likewise with GoldenGlue. I mean, if you get caught by an Ornn ulti or polymorph by the Lulu and focus down, that could be it. But at the same time, given the proper vision and a really nice pickoff, you know, he can be 100 during someone. So such high variance, I feel like. In these
not having any innate flank tools without flash. He's got it right now, of course, but Yeah, Ornn ults are made to just destroy backlines right here. So we'll see if Solo can get in, make those happen. 140 gold for Sven. He takes down that top side scuttle. Brings that game just a little bit closer. But Ocean's up in 15, and right now, vision control pretty rough for both sides, but better for Clutch right now. Ocean could be theirs. In the meantime, though, Cloud9 pushing for the top side, and could be somewhat of a trade of objectives. Sven's here to sort of support that lane.
Yeah, Clutch actually pretty late on this rotation, and Cloud9 showing a lot of respect to the fact that there can be multiple members up there, perhaps too much. But they are potentially looking for this dive now. As Svenskeren has level 2 ultimate, could engage certainly from this far away.
And with the defense there, of course, no one's here to stop LirA going for this Ocean Drake. This should be easy pick up on the Clutch side as Sven shows up and says, hello, I'm here. He blocks. Not much. He's going to be okay. Either way, this is going to be the turret falling. So a trade of Ocean for top lane outer turret. Cloud9 finally on the board for those. A Smite grabs that. Sven still level 11, gets a Gromp for himself. And is going for an assassination build that is more common for Nocturne, of course. Warrior into Duskblade or something else. Yeah,
Duskblade generally the most common second pickup, and then there is some variants from there. You see, a lot of GA and things like that. Sometimes you will see just a full type assassination build where they're going Ghostblade and all these sorts of items. But there is also the ability to kind of go back and go more supportive, go more tanky. Generally speaking, Nocturne doesn't really do a lot as a tank though. Like,
right.
If you go in, it's almost always going to be a one-way trip unless you slaughter the other team. So often just going for enough damage to kind of trade your life out or immediately kill one person is going to be the most effective strategy.
Unless you can get those trades later on in these fights. He's done well with that one bot lane gank, but we've otherwise slowed down since then, and we'll wait for our next ultimate soon. Wave clear still back and forth. The trade of objectives means we're back at a little bit of downtime, but now with Baron Nash respawning in 25 seconds, we again say who's got vision control. Right now it is Clutch recalling from that river. They're going to restock their wards and maybe look for it now.
We've also got to remember how Licorice is going to be able to kind of have an advantage in these side lanes because he is double global. So if you TP to a fight, solo matches, then you have to stand united to join a second time or vice versa. He has gone Titanic into Banner, which is really, really side lane effective. You're going to be able to clear out those waves so incredibly fast and have additional pressure on the turrets now with the Banner. And if Ornn ever groups away from you with the AD on that build, with the Banner of Command, you really can threaten knocking down those turrets pretty quickly. So C9 could look to really just try to split the map and find picks in the side lanes with the Nocturne, find picks around Vision with the Zoe, and really look to try to avoid a straight up 5v5.
5v5 might just be, as you mentioned, in Champs League actually, what Clutch Gaming might want to do. They've got a pretty well-rounded team composition, not quite that same assassination that Clutch, or sorry, Cloud9 might be looking for with a more split up map. LirA trying to give the blue over, says, nah, never mind, I'll just grab it. Go for the next little bit. Licorice grabs that Gromp just in time as he runs away from LirA.
Looks like he actually killed it with his taunt.
Yeah, I think taunt deals damage to monsters as of like a year or so ago, so. That comes in, now an attempted Vladimir sort of pseudo dive. Keep in mind, it's very easy to like whimsy him for move speed and then Sanguine Pool out and not get caught out. But that's enough space to give away that mid lane outer turret, and Clutch Gaming up 3-1 in turret score now.
C9 is collapsing though. They have Zeyzal here with the ultimate. Oh, the Paranoia gets bound!
That is a heartbreaker, but he still finds a way onto Lulu. Gets a ton of damage there, tries to cut away, but still gets knocked up. And the fight is on. Licorice reaches the back line, looking for somebody to kill. Looking now is Zoe. The Ignite on Hakuho is going to lose his life. He's down. GoldenGlue gets another kill for himself. And Apollo, now his days are numbered. Vladimir is going to pop the zone. He's buy some more time. The flash is away. He should still die in Cloud9. Win a 2-0 yet again, killing the bottom lane.
Yeah, and they could potentially go over to Baron here if they want. They know LirA has to go back to base. They could just play it safe and go for mid lane turret. It looks like that is going to be the option. GoldenGlue living with a sliver of health, and Clutch not able to pull off the backline dive, not able to really get Apollo in and have that kind of backline access. He was not able to get on top of Keith or GoldenGlue and finish them off, which meant they didn't have enough really going on in the fight. And the start of the fight looks like it's going to be so good for Clutch because the binding is actually landed onto Svenskeren. This is honestly the Nocturne buff in action with the longer Paranoia. Gives him the time to get in. The one-man Ornn ulti, though, not even hitting Svenskeren. So the Ornn ultimate very ineffective, and then Apollo not really able to get over onto the back line, not getting a lot done in this team fight. He needs to be on top of GoldenGlue or Keith at the start. Instead, he was hitting Zeyzal and Licorice and Svenskeren, and that in combination with the fact that Solo got a very ineffective Ornn ult meant the fight looked so different than what Clutch was expecting.
Yeah, absolutely the case there. So, well, maybe rough stuff from the Clutch Gaming side, but Cloud9 feeling pretty good about that one, getting the game very close now. Only 200 gold separates these squads. But even with a fight like that, it still means his gold is close, and it is anyone's game to play. More of a burst-focused build for GoldenGlue, though. Luden's Echo and a Lich Bane, he is very much about getting that single target and finding that damage. And so far, 2 kills on the board. He's done a good job of that.
Yeah, he certainly has, and it's a little bit concerning as well for Clutch, the fact that they actually expended a fair number of flashes in that fight and really got none of the big carry flashes out from Cloud9. Also, Brand without flash can be extremely vulnerable to getting dove. You're essentially guaranteed to hit that Ornn ultimate, but
yeah,
not able to get any pressure on Keith with the Ornn ulti, not able to get any pressure on him with the Vladimir means he still has that. GoldenGlue still has that. These 2 super squishy members who are putting out most of the damage are not going to be that easy to attack. I mean, both these guys have 16, 1700 health. Like, that is very, very vulnerable, but you can't get to him. You can't kill him.
Absolutely the case right there, and as you mentioned before, with the flash difference there, good at escaping as well. That was 1 flash burn by C9, but 3 down for Clutch, so even the second fight's going to look better, you have to imagine. And it might be Cloud9's turn to start playing around that Baron buff here. The Mountain Drake's up in 40 seconds, but I'll trade that for a Baron any day, any time. And it's going to be vision control right now to take over this top river. And maybe look for a little bit of trap in the brush. Wants the sleepy bubble, not yet going to get it. Gets a little auto attack, but even Lich Bane, look at that damage. Febiven gets the chunk out.
Here's the Ornn ulti, they're looking.
And they get a knock-up on Keith. The chase Vlad's not going to go in for that. He had flash, didn't want to go for it. Now the knock-up for Lulu on the back line. A taunt in there as well. 1 kill already, but the trade back. Big damage coming across back and forth. Clutch getting picked up too. Now a trade, 3-on-3 in this fight. A jump forward for Solo. He's going to be turning to sleep, and now Apollo. Flashing over, puts the ulti down, looks for the Sanguine Pool. He should be killing Keith. Mage on mage, and blood wins over fire. 3 versus 2 now as Licorice jumps over the wall, and it's Clutch Gaming winning the fight.
Yeah, much better fight there from Clutch. This time they're able to execute much more effectively. They do hit an important member with that Ornn ulti, and you can see LirA and Apollo getting more onto the backline, getting that damage out, and knocking down some of these members pretty quickly. Here it is one more time. A C9 collapsing, want to look for it. Not able to immediately follow up on the Ornn ulti, but Keith kind of getting pushed back. Does get a pretty good ult bouncing around. You can see, though, Hakuho getting burst down. That really was the target. Febiven gets out, survives quite a long time, and then LirA, Apollo, Solo, all flooding forward and just chasing them down. And the fact that Apollo still had his ultimate after all of that essentially guarantees the kill on Keith.
Really nice done getting in the back line. And yeah, these are just full high damage champions. There's no durability on them. It's the full AP Vlad. It's none of that Rylays, none of that Leandries. No, he's going as much AP as possible and like big damage out of him. Yes, he can convert that into health, so he's, thanks to being Vladimir, a little bit tanky, but just eviscerated Keith there in the 1v1.
Yeah, and LirA, while he is building a very aggressive build, I honestly would have preferred him to get something like a Hex Drinker at least, have some sort of survivability. There's so much random AoE magic damage in these team fights with Nautilus Ultim, Nautilus E, and all the Brand AoE damage plus GoldenGlue. That it can be hard to actually stay in a fight as a Graves with even just an ult bounce or 2 from the Brand could push you out. So he's going to put out a lot of damage, but he doesn't have a ton of survivability. I guess, the thought process here is just, hey, I have a Lulu behind me. That should kind of be my defensive stats. That should be my protection. And he's going to have to play it really well to kind of dance around these team fights with no magic resist.
Yeah, I would say, I guess Phantom Ramps is the one that you might consider going back and forth on, because I think Cleaver is 400 health. It's still pretty solid for that. But yeah, I would like to see Ma. I think you're right about that one. LirA definitely someone that we have criticized for builds before, has made some bad choices. And this one more debatable, to be fair.
Yeah, this is not egregious by any means. It's just, I think that MR can be so effective.
Speaking of egregious, though, Zeyzal in the middle of the team as support just gets completely shut down. And suddenly it's a 5v4. Ornn comes in. That's a slow into GoldenGlue. He's going to get knocked into the air without a flash.
The binding!
The bind is in. There is no way out. A double kill for Febiven. And suddenly complete map control for Clutch Gaming.
Yeah, Licorice still split pushing, though. He already knocked down the tier 1 bottom. He does have his banner available, so he could actually meet up with that mini wave, banner that up. You can see a banner is in the top lane as well for them. So they have double banner. There is huge lane pressure, and Clutch is kind of forced into going for this because they're going to lose multiple turrets.
Sven has ult, Sven has flash. He can get into the pit and out and play for the steal if they can get vision. He does not have his own trinkets available. Keith can't do very much here himself. He's got a control ward, does put it down. They now know. Sven could go for the ult, could go for the steal. He's going to try before the ward traps down. The spike fight, it goes over to LirA. They get the kill, trade it back at the very least, but look at the base of the bottom lane.
So critical for Clutch here that they got that. If Svenskeren steals it, that could be essentially game ending. They can't get back to base without that Baron recall very fast. That could have been an inhibitor going down for Licorice. Even still, they have lost both their bottom lane turrets to this split push style build that I was talking about from Licorice with the Titanic into that banner. They have a banner as well on Zeyzal, who would drop that in the top lane and was pressuring there. And they really are utilizing that well to kind of accentuate the strength that Shen is already bringing.
Okay, so Baron buff on, a 1,600 gold lead, the reset. We can watch Clutch having to take that Baron.
Yeah, very, very close. Svenskeren actually going in, smites first there. Not able to quite get it down to about 490, it looked like, hit 300 before the smite came in from LirA, but it's really a guessing game there. You know, had LirA smote a split second earlier, well, Svenskeren steals that and maybe Cloud9 wins off. Still a good attempt from him, and not that costly because the cooldown's relatively short.
I like what Clutch did. They seem to all stop DPS in there, and I think Sven smited hoping that Vlad, you know, the E blows up or a binding hits or something, but they actually focused on the Nocturne, and I think LirA just smited reactively after seeing the first one burn. Either way, of course, well played by Clutch, and a nice try by Sven. Now looking for more plays in the mid lane with Baron on. The wave clear is difficult.
Yeah, and this push starts to get shut down, right? Ornn is pushing this up. There's a massive wave in the bottom lane. That is going to be Baron buffed up, and you can see that is going to be shoved in. They can kind of dance between mid and bot. They're trying to get vision control around there. The pink dropped by Hakuho is to help really facilitate that movement back and forth, and they're just going to kind of converge on this bottom lane. Licorice does have Stand Unite to join if he needs, though.
GoldenGlue might try again, but he's not in range for any of that. That sleep was so much farther away. Look for the knockup to actually find out on Azael, but goes out the anchor, he's going to be okay. GoldenGlue still trying to wave clear. We'll see how much of Cloud9's space they're going to lose as Clutch keeps going for the pushing here. Their lead now 3,000 gold, but a lot of that in their pockets. Turret on the inhibitor going to fall.
Yeah, I think at this point they're probably giving up the inhib. We'll see if they make the call.
Go for the fight, but it's only a knockup onto the one champion. Here comes the play in the back line. Huge burst damage coming across. 1 kill already picked up. 5v4. Hakuho low. Black shields himself, and the re-engages in. The second kill now picked up. Licorice gets a lot, but look at that Vladimir damage, getting some of the backside as well. His own double is Apollo on that champion. Now is Cloud9 maybe forced to run away. Health bar's getting low. They do get that trade. A shutdown. Zeyzal getting the gold onto this one. Looking for the knockup. Not going to find that yet onto Licorice. Gets clapped up, but stays alive. 3 versus, it looks like 2 now is actually Clutch game and get the inhib, but lose more in the fight.
Yeah, they lose 1 extra there. Enough CC from Cloud9 to lock down and kill off Apollo before he could heal back up. And Apollo now does have the Zonias, so that is going to be a big purchase for him. Being able to get that much more done in the fight. He just barely did not have it in this fight here. So here it is one more time. The Ornn ulti comes through. Paranoia dropped. Honestly, kind of defensively for Keith. That was actually a really good time for Svenskeren because you lose vision of Keith then, and it makes it very hard to kind of go for that follow-up dive. And then the dive coming through, able to actually burst down Febiven this time. LirA kiting away from Licorice. Apollo getting work done in the backline on his own. But all the CC coming through. There is the taunt into the hook, into the follow-up from GoldenGlue, and getting that kill on Apollo means Clutch cannot close the game out. Do have to back off.
And we can see the gold difference throughout this game, spiking up and down throughout this one. Cloud9 had some limited times of being ahead, but it's just been this very chaotic game right now, resting at 3,000. I would probably still take the inhibitor for -1 kill, but with Baron buff timing out now, we'll see what else can happen there. This game's sort of on a reset here. 50 seconds for that Drake to respawn. And by most rights, I feel like it should go to Clutch with their gold lead, with their ability to 5-on-5, but we'll wait to see if C9 can navigate the situation. It's right now a rotation to the top side as Tier 2 is under siege with some minions there, but a full health turret could be hard to kill. A knock up there and a Licorice going for a lot more damage. Nocturne ults in for this one. Will there be a fight though? GoldenGlue is far, far out of range, and there will not be an engage here. That is an ultimate cooldown burn.
Yeah, just kind of using it defensively, trying to create some chaos there, but it means Nocturne is essentially useless now. And on this next push, it becomes very hard for him to get any sort of backline access, and I think Clutch will now push aggressively off that. You can look to just straight up do a dive, go for a 5v5 fight here. Knowing Nocturne has no ult, he's going to be so much weaker.
He attacks the minion, finds a little bit of damage on LirA though, not getting a million off of him, but poke always matters. The wave clear comes through. Brand pretty good at that one. One of the things that does keep games from snowballing out of control is mages that can kill minions fast.
But look at the waves in the side lane. There's, you know, in the bottom lane, super minions are already coming into the base. A big wave stacked up here in the mid lane. It's looking like for Clutch also. Cloud9 is going to have to respond to that. Ornn ultimate is available. They're trying to set up on the side and get ready for a potential dive here. And we'll see if they can actually make this happen. Also worth noting, Storm Razor completed for LirA, continuing the aggressive trend.
Big damage. Oh, the ult's only going to land on Zeyzal, but the burst damage so good on the top side as Keith falls. 5v4 in the fight. Licorice has been trying to join this one, but look at the burst coming across. They've already picked up 3. Clutch Gaming wiping the floor with Cloud9. Kills across the board on the bottom side of that map now. As the fight continues, look at the burst coming across. Sven gonna get the GA pop. But this could be the game ending right now. A taunt Licorice trying to buy some time, but he's now alone against the world. Clutch Gaming 5v1 looking to slow him down. The slow's in, and now it's time for the turrets. The minions are there onto the Nexus turrets, and there is no defense to be had. Clutch Gaming, your 4th place finishers from Spring, gonna start this season 1-0, taking down the new look Cloud9. Licorice's defense not going to matter. He can't dodge this loss as the Nexus falls.
Nicely done there from Clutch, closing it out in the final moments, finding Brand with that Ornn ulti. So hard for Keith without a flash to ever escape that. And when Keith died before Licorice's ultimate is able to actually come through with that Stand United, you know there was no real chance for Cloud9. With no Nocturne ult up, with no Shen arriving in the fight, you're almost fighting a 3v5. And Clutch is able to close it out from there.
And Cloud9 chose to defend the tier 2, and that was a good punish there. Solo pops the art, says we can take this fight, and they were right about that one.
Props to Cloud9 though for making what was a horrible start become a very competitive game, right? They gave up 3 kills before 2:30, 2 kills at level 1, and still were able to make it competitive. GoldenGlue in particular, I think, did show a very strong game. Solo kill onto Febiven, able to consistently push him in, kind of have pressure there, but Clutch in the end drafted for a strong 5v5. They played to their win condition. They grouped very well, and honestly, just played a strong, solid 5v5 style game.
Yeah, and LirA went for a very aggressive build. He went for pretty much optimal DPS, and to his credit, did not die, did not get picked off, was able to play around the zone quite well, play on the team fights well, and did a lot of damage in these fights.
Most on his team.
Yeah, looking again at the damage graph, you're right. He topped the damage charts in the jungle Graves, and it was not a funneled Graves. It was not, Febiven playing a support, playing Lulu, but still taking the farm. And LirA is a player that I feel like people were waiting to be amazing during Spring, because back on Envy, back in 2017, this guy was turning heads. He was voted all-team #1 jungler in the Spring split, and just had been so good. And then he gets on a Clutch, and it's like, where is LirA? What's happened? We are in a very tank-focused style, and he was playing those champions as well. Graves is good again, and he's back on a carry in the first game, and does exactly that. Highest damage in the team, aggressive build, and does great in this champ.
And it's kind of crazy to think that they got 4th place with LirA not even really playing to his peak, right?
Yeah.
So, this is certainly a team that I think does have a lot of potential to improve. Solo has, I think, been growing and improving as a top laner. If LirA is back on point, is working well in this meta, the sky is the limit. And to his credit, played it well enough, didn't need any defensive items, dodged pretty much everything he needed to.
And the caveat is, how good is the test against the new look Cloud9, if it's a great team or a weaker team, but we'll see either way. For more on that game, let's send it down to Avli and Clutch's veteran bot lane carry.
Thanks, guys. Apollo, congratulations on your victory and for being the first non-traditional bot laner with your Vlad in the bot lane today to be successful with that. What do you think of the bot lane changes, and how are you finding your place in them?
It's pretty difficult, I think. I had to practice a lot more. The champions I'd never played before, pretty much. So I was actually feeling pretty comfortable on Vlad before I went on stage, but I didn't play as well as I thought I would. But I'm glad that we pulled out the win.
We've had a lot of time. Last time we saw you was in Miami. Now you got this break to kind of learn about the new meta. What else have you been doing with your time?
Well, I guess recently just playing a lot of League of Legends. But I was just relaxing. Like after Miami, it was kind of a rough. It was a rough series for us, but we took a break and then we got back to boot camp, and then the whole patch happened. So after that, I've just been practicing League of Legends. Like I'm practicing all these new champions because I have to.
What has been the main focus of all your prep, maybe during the boot camp?
During a boot camp, I would say it's communication has been our biggest improvement and our focus, because I think it was a main issue when we were playing last split. Even though I think we performed pretty well compared to other people's expectations, I still think communication was a huge issue, and that we've done a really good job of improving that.
Now, unlike your opponents today in Cloud9, you guys have kept your roster intact from last split. Has that helped you at all?
Yeah, I don't think obviously there are problems on our team, right? But I don't think anything was a roster issue, and I'm glad that we all stuck together. I think it's been, it's been pretty helpful for us. I think we just working on our problems and just getting better. I think C9 had some roster changes. I think it was a surprise for everybody, including me. But I mean, they played pretty well today. I think even I think the game should have been a lot harder for them, despite because of the level 1. But they played it well and they came back.
Well, congratulations again on your victory. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avali. A couple interesting points there in that interview with Apollo that I want to dive into. The first of which is what it takes for a pro player when struggling with these kind of new picks that are being introduced in terms of practicing it up to a degree that you can play it at the highest level and in such intense moments.
Yeah, I mean, on the alt stream, they had Doublelift, Cutie Pie, and Afro all talking. They said, like, even if you learn a champion, it's still different to be like, this is what it's supposed to do, and then having that kind of instinct to do it in a high-level competitive match. And there's a couple fights over the course of this game where it's very easy to nitpick Apollo's Vladimir, and you heard him himself saying, like, I don't think I played it that well, despite feeling confident on the pick, because once your brain kind of shuts off and you're working more kind of on that first natural instinct, it's just not there.
To which I'm sure if he were to watch it back, he could probably point out all the same moments and say, hey, that's where I was mechanically off.
Yeah.
But in the moment of it all, I hit W instead of E.
He's a pro player. He has people telling him what he should do. He can figure it out himself as well, but executing it in the moment takes many, many, many hours. And they don't have the time to do that for the 27 unique picks we've seen in the bottom lane. It's impossible.
That's a lot of League of Legends.
So
Not
that's
enough
what
time
he
in
said
the
during
day.
the interview, is they just need more time.
Now, the other aspect of the interview that I really wanted to dive into is what he said at the very end, the idea that this game should have been even tougher for Cloud9 based on the way that the game started. Of course, we have these shenanigans at level 1, which net early advantages to Clutch.
Yeah, catastrophic failure here by C9, especially the first game. Your substitutes come in, they get double killed, as well as losing summoners, and it's after minions have spawned, so they'll never make it back for the start. On top of that, LirA goes red to other side scuttle, surprises Svenskeren, who tried to do red Raptors scuttle, and picks up another kill, as well as then sweeping around the map later, controlling both scuttles and being about 40 CS ahead of him halfway, 10 minutes into the game.
And now, granted, we saw Vlad earlier played with a Leona, this time around with a Morgana. I do want to talk about what those early kills does to the dynamic of that lane in the bot lane when all of a sudden you've got kill advantage, XP advantage, summoner advantage on that side.
So I'll start by saying, who really knows exactly how these matchups go? How many times have I watched this? I don't know, but...
Why are you even here, Mark?
I don't. I'll just...
Jat, I got quit now.
I got it. No. Give me the screen time. It was... you understand the counter picks. Morgana was always a counter pick into Nautilus for those reasons. Brand is basically a lane bully. Even if you play him in the carry or support position down the bot lane, he usually dictates the pace of the laning phase. And when you die like that early on, you come back to lane, you're behind XP, it just completely neutralizes what that pick is supposed to do. And even though the Morgana was there to counter pick the Nautilus, the Brand still probably should be dictating that lane, but once that all goes out the window, the Vlad and Morgana can actually push their advantage a little bit.
I think that's then where we can turn and give some credit over to the C9 squad in the way that they did claw their way back into this one with some intelligent uses of the Nocturne.
Agreed. They hit ultimate spikes. Zeyzal goes in, gets Black Shield out, just pops an ultimate down, and it's a pretty easy double kill when they send about 4.5 people down. You could see GoldenGlue Zoe was already on the way, but they didn't need it. And this is where you think, wow, C9 actually made a game of this, and Apollo even referenced it in the interview. For most teams, what happened in level 1, especially in the current game state where we have fewer rubber banding mechanics and it's easier to get a giant lead by 15 minutes, the fact that Cloud9 actually made this close is pretty admirable.
Now, that said, we get to the 24-minute team fight, and that's where it kind of falls apart for Cloud9. They are the initiators in this situation to some degree. Of course, the Ornn comes through, but nothing really comes as a result of it. Nocturne perhaps mistargeted. Mark, what do we think?
Yeah, it's one of those things where the people you're kind of hitting down on this are not the key threats. You get rid of the Morgana, the Lulu is kind of forced out of the fight and will eventually be killed, but while you're doing that, the two people on the side that were occupying those positions were the Vladimir and the Graves, and so you're kind of kiting through them. They drop a ton of damage down, and then they're still alive to actually finish you off. So in the previous fight that C9 actually won in the river, you had Apollo slightly mispositioning, using his W a little too soon, and he was able to get killed. when Vlad is kind of untouched in a fight, you get to see why he is such a strong champion and why he's kind of being played in every position right now.
From there, the Barons picked up by Clutch Gaming, able to close it out in not too long after that. And now I want to kind of distill the discussion back to the Cloud9 roster in and of itself. We talked about these guys at the top of the day. It's a very peculiar move. It has sparked a lot of conversation within the community and fans of this organization. But ultimately, one game in, so let's make some big overreacting statements. What is the verdict here? I mean, do these guys deserve to be playing on the LCS stage without the knowledge of, the specifics necessarily to why they were subbed in?
C9 Academy went 1-1 with the LCS starters. The two, actual Academy players were the ones who won them the first game and then kind of lost in the second game. So who knows? They didn't look very impactful in Academy.
Right. Yeah, and here's what I'll say. I thought GoldenGlue played a really good game.
Yeah.
His Zoe had a huge amount of influence. He got a solo kill on the Febiven.
Right. The first kill in the game for Cloud9.
He had more roaming pressure. He had the most damage in the game. You could see that even though the team was in a hole. Keith and Zeyzal made that big mistake level 1, but actually fought back. And it's going to be so interesting to track what Cloud9 decides to do from a Reaper and Jack perspective. And I think a lot of it will have to do with the attitude and the level they feel like Jensen, Sneaky, and Smoothie are at. Because I feel like if they get that back, almost no matter what these guys are doing on stage, you're probably putting those original Cloud9 starters back. I think they played really well considering the circumstances. But if you look back after week 2, and this team's sitting at 1-3 or 0-4, it doesn't matter that this game was close. It will matter that they lost, and that will be what people judge them on down the road.
So it kind of makes you hope that tomorrow we see a game where maybe the first 10 minutes are killless, give them more of a bit of an even slate and see how they operate from that.
I would rather see, like 3 kills in the first 10 minutes, but for them, yeah, exactly. The other way around.
Fair enough. Let's go ahead and flip the script. I do want to take this moment halfway through the day to re-pull up the predictions as you guys laid them out from the top of the day.
Really?
Of course,
let's talk about that one.
Jat was our winner of the spring split when it came to the predictions.
Thank you.
But through 3 games today, I
everyone that
believe
I beat
Mark is sitting at 2 correct and Jat only at 1.
I won by 4.
Oh my God, that was last split and I inted at the end to try and catch you. Yeah, I was down 1 game, whatever. Ming, I get it. He's not following the North American scene this closely. Jat, they benched 3 of their starters, right?
They look good, man.
They lost.
Did you see GoldenGlue?
They evened the game out and then still lost.
It was close.
It was close. Yeah. So Jack cares that it was close. Nobody else will in a week.
It's not
but Jack definitely does. Up next, we got the return of FlyQuest and Echo Fox to the LCS stage. Meet us back here for that matchup after the break.
Do you have a brain today?
I don't know, 5